What if the greatest obstacle to power isn't the fight to get it, but a story we tell ourselves about what comes next? We are captivated by the struggle, the long campaign, the breakthrough. We see the pinnacle, the promotion, the victory, the title, as the finish line, a place where the hard work is over and you can finally rest. It's a story of merit, effort, and final reward. But one of history's most notorious guides suggests this story is a profound mistake. It argues the moment of arrival is not an end, but a beginning. That power is not defined by the daring capture, but by the quiet, daily discipline of holding on. And that a leader's first and most important battle is not for territory, but for the mind. This is The Disquieting Core of the Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. Written centuries ago, it is less a book of philosophy and more a cold operational manual. It strips away our ideals about how leaders should act to examine with surgical precision how they must act to preserve their state. It explores the fundamental mechanics of control, stability, and survival from the inside. Machiavelli's first reversal is this: acquiring power is a dramatic, visible struggle, but keeping it is an architectural problem, and architecture, once built, is easier to live in than to construct. When you are gaining power, you are an outsider, a threat. Every move is scrutinized, every alliance provisional. Your authority is just a claim shouted over the noise, but once you have it, the architecture of the world shifts. You control the levers, the routines, the appointments, the information. The system begins to reorient itself around you. Your word starts to become law, not because it's right, but because it's yours. Think of it like building a dam. The immense effort is in the construction, fighting the relentless river, pouring the foundations against the current. That is the gain. But once the dam is built and the water is calm behind it, your task changes. Now it's maintenance, checking for cracks, managing the flow. The force that fought you is now contained, a source of strength. The energy required to maintain is far less than the energy required to build. Your role is no longer conquest, but conservation. You stop being a disruptive force and become the foundation. And people, by nature, adapt to foundations. But this control relies on a deeper, more volatile force, what people believe. And here Machiavelli proposes a second, more powerful reversal. We assume reality shapes perception. A leader acts, and then we judge them. He insists the effective leader must work in the opposite direction. Your reputation is the filter through which every action is interpreted. Control that narrative, and you control the judgment of your reality. A harsh decision is cruel, or it is necessary for stability. A change in policy is weakness, or it is pragmatic adaptation. This isn't about deception, it's about foundational framing. Before you act, you must prepare the stage for its reception. You must appear resolute, generous, strong, even when circumstance forces contradictory action. Because people see what you appear to be far more quickly than they understand what you are. That perception becomes their reality. And that perceived reality grants you the space to maneuver, the benefit of the doubt, the loyalty in difficult times. You are not managing events first. You are managing the lens. To see both ideas working together, let's imagine. A quiet city, for years governed by an old council, stable but stagnant. Then a new ruler arrives. They did not inherit this place. They won it with clever promises of a new dawn. In their first year, a crisis, A vital trade route collapses, famine threatens, the ruler faces a choice: ration food strictly, a brutal effective measure, or appeal for charity, a kinder-looking path that could lead to chaos. The old council would have debated. The new ruler acts. They impose the rations. Suffering is immediate. Anger simmers. Now, watch the perception, not now, but before. For months, this ruler presented themselves not as a friend, but as a stern guardian. They spoke not of comfort, but of the city's eternal strength. They built a persona of iron necessity. So when the rations come, the story is not, "A cruel leader starves us." It is, "The guardian makes the hard choice to save us." The ruler then appears in public, taking the same rations. They channel saved resources into public works for the unemployed. They steer the perception from cruelty to shared sacrifice, from punishment to foresight. The reality of hunger is real. But the meaning of that hunger, the story of why it exists and who bears the blame, is crafted elsewhere. The ruler wasn't just managing a food shortage, they were managing meaning. At its core, this is about a fundamental human need. In chaos, we don't just seek solutions. We seek a story that makes the suffering make sense. The leader who provides that story first controls where the blame and the credit will land. Psychologically, the stern guardian persona was a pre-written narrative handed to the people before they could write their own, which would inevitably cast the ruler as the villain. Socially, sharing the rations was a masterful symbol. It transformed a top-down decree into a shared social contract. The public works gave frustrated energy a channel and a partial, tangible benefit. This is the behind-the-scenes machinery. It is not about avoiding hard reality. It is about understanding that the social and psychological reaction to that reality is a separate and manageable dimension of power. Ignore it, and you may win the immediate battle, while silently losing the war for the public support that is your ultimate foundation. It's clear in a story of cities and rulers, but feel that tension for a moment. The cold fact of hunger versus the framed story of sacrifice. Now bring it closer. How do you form an opinion of someone in charge? A manager, a community leader, a public figure? Is it a meticulous audit of their decisions? Or is it the feeling they leave you with? The story that forms about their character in the hallway or in the news segment? What shapes what we pay attention to? The complex, boring details, or the powerful, simple image that sits in front of them? You don't have to rule a city to see this mechanic at work. The lesson is about understanding the layers of influence. It asks you to look past the obvious action to see the preparation of the stage. It encourages clearer thinking by separating the event from its framing. In your own life, this might mean recognizing that how you consistently present yourself, your reliability, your judgment, creates the perceptual lens through which your future actions will be viewed. It means understanding that maintaining a position of respect, once earned, requires different, quieter skills than the ones used to earn it. It is a lens, a tool for seeing why some figures endure despite failures and why others falter despite success. There is a coldness to these ideas. They separate the mechanics of holding power from the virtues we hope would guide it. But perhaps their value is not in prescription, but in description. They do not tell us how the world should work, but give us a clearer language to describe how parts of it do work, stripped of wishful thinking. We can reject the methods, but we can still use the analysis. It is, ultimately, a study of pressure. and how different shapes behave under it. So the question is no longer just if this shapes our world. It's whether, now that you've seen the mechanism, you can notice the quiet contest to shape perception happening all around you.